Colombo, I think one of the more interesting openings is the Raiders, and it's a team, obviously, that Bill was, tied to a bunch because Brady's there. But now reports are coming out that Ben Johnson, it seems like that is more and more likely that that's where he's going to wind up. And all last year we were talking about, hey, Ben Johnson, he's in a perfect spot because he can kind of pick and choose here. He's the hottest name. Their offense has been unbelievable the last 2 years. And then you look at the Raiders as a whole, and they don't have a quarterback. They have holes everywhere. Is the allure of Tom Brady being, a partial owner and having hands-on in this process, is that enough to get one of these marquee guys to say, yep, I'll whatever you need me to do, I'm going to go to Vegas because I want to coach under Tom? And do you believe Tom being around there is enough for the Raiders to turn things around rather quickly when they've been so shitty for so long?
I think it's certainly a step in the right direction. I mean, you get a guy that understands what it takes to win, a former player who's achieved at the highest level of his profession, the greatest quarterback, the GOAT, and you get him in there and you sit in a meeting with him and he knows what it takes to win. He knows what locker rooms need to have to win. And so I think if you're Ben Johnson and you're having a conversation with Tom through his agent and through all the people, I think you get a sense of comfort. Look, I think a lot of these jobs are driven by what's the ownership behavior. Right? I mean, what is the ownership behavior? And we've seen that Mark Davis has been impatient. But now we see that I think it's time for him to allow someone to come in and buffer this. And I think ultimately that'll be a good situation, and he'll be able to find players and develop talent. Look, wherever Ben Johnson goes to the Raiders, he's not going to be able to turn that program around in a year, but he's going to find a quarterback to help that he could turn it around and build the team inside out. And I think Tom has a really good understanding of team building. I've spoken to Tom many times in the past about team building, about how to scout inside out. I think Tom's going to do great.
Hey, that was an incredibly smooth move of your phone, either silencing it or passing something off while giving a perfect take. That's why you're the difference, brother. That's why you are the X factor in everything. All day busy right now? We're very busy.
No, it's every day's the same. You got to solve problems. You got to put fires out, and you got to find players. I mean, look, one thing about this program, it's all about consistency. It's about doing it every single day and getting better at what you do. And that's that's standards for me too. I've got to uphold to it. So whether if I ask the players to do it, we better make damn sure we're doing it on the fourth floor here.
Fourth floor.
Love that.
Yeah. UNC's going to be back, maybe. Huh? Doesn't it sound like it?
Certainly sounds
the Raiders might be back, too.
Maybe.
Raiders.
The NFL, Pat, needs the Raiders to be good. They really do. They're such a great fan base. They really are. It's like
they hated you for a while. You remember that this season?
They always hate me. They hate me because I speak the truth to them. They haven't won a playoff game since we lost the Super Bowl. I mean, in 2002. I mean, they've been to 3 playoff games. They've lost every wild card. Nobody wants to hear the truth, but the problem has been since we lost the great Rich Gannon, that program has really struggled. And now they've got to get somebody. Look, every reason why teams lose is there's not a command center. There's not somebody bringing a plan in on how we're going to win. And it has to come from a paramilitary basis. It's got to come from a supreme commander. I think New England just got a supreme commander, right? The Raiders have a supreme commander in Tom Brady. That's how you win.
Hell yeah. Supreme commanders. You need one voice at the end of the day. Somebody has to have 2 votes, because there's always going to be disagreements. In my eyes. Now, granted, there's people that are going to say committees have been able to figure things out, even though committees, every time we hear about them, they're not figuring things out. I don't know if committees have ever figured something out and it all go the way it's supposed to go. But in my eyes, one person having a vision is certainly a right answer. Now, if it's wrong, then we know who, right?
Yeah.
Then we can replace person. If it's right, though, we also know who, plus alongside others. So I think Supreme Commander is a hilarious way to describe that, and I will start taking it as if it's my own. But I appreciate the fact that you guys got a bunch of Supreme Commanders down there in North Carolina.
Yeah.
22 years.
Right, we got one. We know where we're going.
But everybody's...
We got one. We know where we're going. And there's going to be no confusion. And people that don't want to get on board, we'll find somewhere else. Because here's what I do know. The name on the front's more important than the name on the back. Everybody's replaceable, me included. So That's the culture you want. That's the culture that Tom will bring to the Raiders. That's the culture that New England's going to go back to with there won't be people in meetings. There won't be administrators coming down. They've made changes already to benefit Mike Vrabel in New England that were prohibiting them from being successful because they wanted to try that, what I call that Dairy Queen method. Like, we're all going to sing Kumbaya and go get ice cream.
Yeah, we all got it right. We did good here. We did good here. Chuck wanted to ask you a quick question on that particular.
Yeah.
As far as the GM search goes there at the Raiders, that's open as well. Have you heard anything like if Ben Johnson is the guy that they're targeting, they're pairing these guys up now coming into a building. So they get two guys that are, going to work together, be collaborative, all that stuff, get along. Any word on that?
I know that they're talking through a host of people, but I do think Tom understands more than anything there has to be symmetry between the two. They don't have to get along, right? That what they have to do is share the same vision. And I think the best thing you can have is a debate. I mean, look, Jim Harbaugh goes out to the Chargers. He hires someone that he's very comfortable with that will debate him and force him to think differently about players. It doesn't mean we're all going to get along, but we share the same philosophy. We know exactly what we want in every player. We know how we're going to build this team inside out, and no one's going to argue about it, right? No one's going to argue that the Chargers take an offensive lineman when somebody in the back of the room thinks we should take a receiver, because everybody's in tune to the philosophy that Harbaugh set. See, that's the key. And if you're Ben Johnson, you come in there with a philosophy. Here's what I want to do offensively, defensively, the kicking game. And it's the job of the personnel guy to work within the framework of that and sell that to the people who are doing all the scouting. That's the job. That's how you get alignment. All this crap about being on the same page, it goes out the window as soon as you lose the game. But to create true alignment, you've got to get the leaders have to preach everything that you want to do. It's the first thing we did here. What's our recruiting message? We got to get that to people so the kids know exactly, hey, if you don't want it, no problem. I say this all the time to kids. Yes is good. No is good. Maybe stinks. I hate maybe. Maybe I'm interested. Maybe I'm not. No, I'm moving on. When you tell me you're maybe, we're going to the next kid. Right? No, I can deal with. Maybe I can't.
Man, I'm excited to see if this works. I legitimately, just because everything we're hearing about this current process is like very different than that. But the allure of like, hey, this is a professional football academy, pretty much, is what you're going to. And if you don't end up in the NFL, you are going to end up a great business person. You're going to end up a great whatever, because this is like a life. So I think you're going to find your people. I think you are going to find your people. I'm excited to see how quickly that all happens. Once again, you win. It's an easy. That's an easy sell, which you guys have always done.